What's up, friends? Welcome to Chaos Live. I haven't done one in, it's been a couple weeks, I think, right? It's been a little bit. But I'm back doing a live show. It's kind of hard to do it every week. I know I had the idea of doing these live streams every week, but it's kind of tough to do sometimes every week, kind of a thing. But we're going to try to make it happen. So thank you guys, those of you that were the first ones to join in here for the live stream, for the live chat and everything. So what's up, Jumpman Keel, Joshua, Sydney, and all that stuff, and anybody else that decides to join in. So awesome. But thanks for those of you that were the first ones to kind of join in. So here we are on a Saturday night. Yeah. I kind of lost track because I had yesterday off too and everything. So it's kind of throwing me off a little bit. So let's see what we got. We got what's up, Jumpman Keel? What's up, Andrew? Oh yeah, I didn't say Andrew at the very beginning. I think he was the first one in there. So what's up, Andrew? Thanks for joining in. Joshua's made it. Awesome. But you're already at 12K. I know. It's awesome. I'm pretty excited about that. So we'll see how much more we can continue to keep growing. Hopefully it doesn't ever stop. Hopefully we just keep growing. All that stuff. So it's amazing though. It's pretty fun. A couple months ago we were at 8,000. I know it was crazy. It's especially like when you look at like what was it, like back in like December, going from like December to like February, like jumped up a lot. So it was kind of crazy. There's certain time frames where there was a really big peak in gaining subscribers and everything like that, and it's been pretty amazing. But it's exciting. Yay! Finally, I made it to let's say yay! The first time I've made it. So awesome, Sydney. Thanks for joining in on the live stream and coming to hang out. Joshua, the intro. It's the Chaos Live intro. It's just a what is it, not a preset. What was the word I was going to use? A template, like a little After Effects template, and I just kind of tweaked it a little bit. It's not super crazy. So, how you doing, Jared? What's happening? I'm doing good. As Jay the Vorn, hey Chris, happy Father's Day. It's the pre-day before Father's Day, so my first Father's Day. So, because like last Father's Day, the girlfriend was pregnant with our baby, so this is actually the first Father's Day, so it's exciting. I'm excited about that. So I don't think we have any too crazy of plans. I think we'll probably be lazy, hang out. Vacation starts pretty soon, so still probably got some stuff to do to prepare for vacation before we go to California for a little bit and all that kind of stuff. So I'm okay. I think I mentioned it before. I'm really bad with names. I'm really bad at trying to pronounce people's names. I can probably pronounce that last name of Grant and says that I'm amazing. Well, you're amazing because you're here at Chaos Live, and apparently you're possibly a subscriber, so you are amazing. You are the amazing ones. I'm just the guy on the other side of a camera having fun, making videos, and do my best that I can to entertain everybody and hopefully teach you guys some cool stuff about the Army. I wish I could adjust the camera a little bit better. It's a little bit, I'm trying to sit up so I don't, because if I just like kick back and relax, it doesn't look so great. It's not in frame, but I use this Manfrotto like crazy arm thing that attaches to my desk, and it's not easy to adjust, so we'll deal with this. This will be fine. So this is Chaos Live, this live show where I come hang out with all you amazing, awesome people, and if you have questions, I try to answer them the best that I can in the live chat, and just hang out with you guys for approximately an hour. We'll see. Sometimes it just depends on the flow of things. If we go all the way to an hour, we usually do. Sometimes I have the idea that I'll cut it off after 30 minutes, but a lot of times we end up going all the way to the hour mark, and I try not to go past that. So if you are here live with me, hanging out, awesome. You can leave some questions in the live chat, and I'll try to answer them the best that I can. If you are watching this afterwards, after the pre-recorded, after it was already up and processed on YouTube, and you have questions, then you can leave questions in the comment section down below. That's fine too, and I'll try to come back to it and answer questions and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's kind of the thing. I just love hanging out with you awesome people and doing cool stuff to, answer questions if you have curiosity of things. Do you remember Russ? I do. Are you Russ? Was it Western Oklahoma Weather Wow? Because I pay attention, Russ. If this is you, I do know that you. What are you, chasing tornadoes? So, if that's you, Russ, what's up? Welcome to Chaos Live. Joe McKeel, Chris, I'm loving the recent vids, like the Army birthday video and the celebrities in the Army. Thanks. I'm trying to add more entertaining stuff. I don't want I don't want to like, you know, filter or cater everything on the channel to people who are not in the Army and interested in the Army. I would like to be able to cater to both people who are interested in the military because either they're just interested in it or they're thinking about joining or they know somebody who's in the Army and they just want to learn about it, but also cater to those who are in the Army or were in the Army or even are or were in the military, period, and maybe just want to be entertained with things like that. So that's what I'm trying to do. I have, I don't know if I have anything. I got like a little cheat sheet board over here of ideas of stuff. I don't think I have anything that really caters to that just yet. I've got a bunch of different ideas for videos that'll be coming up pretty soon. Things like doing more specifically on all the different tabs in the Army. Punishment, that one's been a long time. I've been talking about wanting to do that video and haven't done that as far as how punishment works in the Army. I still need to do the SFAB video on that new unit that started up back in October. There's a really cool one that I want to do that I have to do a lot of research for probably, but how you can actually play sports in the Army. You can actually do things like do wrestling and do, you know, Olympic style, you know, events in the Army and still, you know, be in the military and doing that. So I have to work on that one, but we'll work on some of that kind of stuff, though. No, not the Democratic People Republic of California. Yeah, I'll be going to California for a little bit, and that's where my family lives and all that kind of stuff. So we'll go back there for a little bit of a visit and then back at it. But I got to pre-plan out some videos so that I can still have some cool content while I'm on vacation. Maybe do some stuff from California. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I don't know if anybody out there has seen the drone video that I did for my hometown. I did that a while back before the channel started blowing up. I want to do a part 2 to that, so that might be a random thing you guys might see on the channel pop up in the next several weeks or whatever, is a part 2 to that my hometown video. It's in if you go to like my channel and you go to the playlist, it's under random chaos, and there's a my hometown Bishop, California. There's a drone video, a bunch of cool drone shots from the area of my hometown, and I want to do a part 2 to that shows some of the other cool areas in my hometown. So I got to do that as well. So that'll be coming up at some point in time. Cali is gross. It's fun to visit. It's very expensive. There's a lot of perks and disadvantages and all that stuff like that. I wouldn't want to live back in California. I think if I ever, you know, got really successful to where either I won the lottery or I was doing YouTube full time because I made a lot of money doing that, I would probably move to like Las Vegas or something, because it'd be kind of, you know, still close to California, but not actually living in California, so it'd be easy to drive home and visit family and stuff. I like Colorado. I just hate the snow, even though the last couple of years we really haven't got a lot of snow. So it's been kind of crazy. And then Western Oklahoma weather. Wow. I will forever call you Sarge. That's cool. That's cool, Russ. So, by the way, I'm pretty sure you didn't actually specifically say it. Yeah, a little bit farther down in the comments, because like you're saying it. But Western Oklahoma weather. Wow. That is an old soldier of mine named Russ. So he used to be one of my soldiers in my section when I was a section leader, section sergeant for 410 Cav. And so what's up, Russ? Thanks for coming in to hang out. I see you found your red hat. I did not. This is a brand new red hat. Did I talk about that? Did I already talk about that I lost my red hat? Was that during the last live stream? I forget when I mentioned that. That's funny that I forgot that I mentioned that. No, I did. So I didn't find it. This is a brand new one. And so this is like my show hat. I don't wear this hat other than when I'm shooting videos and doing live. This hangs up on a little stand, or kind of like, not really a stand. It's a stand that's holding my monitor, one of my monitors on like a little rack kind of thing. And I put the hat over there. Otherwise, I have a different hat that I wear. If I ever find the other red hat, the other one will become like my daily wear hat, and this one will always be my for video hat. So I think this is kind of going to be the purpose of, I guess. I like the videos about the celebrities being in the military. Who knew that the man who founded Playboy was in the Army? Yeah, I didn't know about that one. There was some that I knew about. I didn't know about Hugh Hefner being in the Army. I think I remember hearing about Ice-T being in the Army. I didn't know a whole lot about it. There's also a thing, I didn't really address it in the video. I should have. But there were some people that thought they were actually, I guess Ice-T apparently said it in an interview that he was in the Rangers. But then there's another article that I read where they were showing a bunch of stuff like his DD-214, which proves like your military history, and there's no record of him being in the Rangers. So I didn't include that in there because it doesn't sound like he actually was in the Rangers. But I don't know. I probably should have addressed it, and I didn't think about it, but I didn't do that. But there was a lot of people that was kind of, I was surprised about. Mr. T, I don't think I knew about. And then there's not like I was really bummed out that there wasn't anybody like really like current famous. I mean, those are kind of like old school famous people. There's nobody like, you know, Chris Pratt or, you know, Tom Cruise kind of, you know, famous nowadays kind of person that was really in the Army. There's maybe a few people from like the Marines or the Navy or the Air Force or something like that, but not really in the Army that I found anyways. So that was kind of a little bit disappointing. I thought that was kind of crazy. Are you a soccer fan? If so, which country are you rooting for in the FIFA World Cup? I am not. I'm not a soccer fan. The only sports I ever watch is UFC. I like mixed martial arts. I like MMA. So really that's the only one I watch. I root for the Raiders, but I really don't pay attention enough to the NFL to really kind of like know my stuff with NFL. But I guess I root for the Raiders. And I'll watch the games here and there, but that's it. So MMA is really the only sport I really watch. Can you do a video specifically about the Army contract? I could. I don't know how much stuff I could really fill with that type of subject. I mean, there's a couple of topics that I touch on a little bit with some of my videos, like we're talking about bonuses. There's a little bit I talk about in like the joining the Army video. But, I mean, it's really kind of specific to what you want to do with enlistment, but I don't know what kind of if I would have a lot of good information to really kind of cater to that video. I don't know. I'll have to maybe make a note of it and we'll look into it and see. I saw the drone video you did. That's how I found out you were from California. Yeah, it's a cool video. A lot of people in my hometown saw it and liked it, like a lot of the businesses and stuff, and they were like, you know, wanting to have other things incorporated into it. So this time when I go back, I want to make sure to, you know, catch some more cool stuff. Military movies still a thing? Oh, you're talking about for the, like when I did the little everything wrong with within the Army now? Yeah, I want to do another one. I just got to figure out what movie to do. That video didn't do that hot, but it's not to say that I won't still do it. Maybe eventually. I don't know. We'll see. Let me just pop out the chat because I'm getting behind compared to the chat that I have going on over here. So I got to catch up a little bit. But yeah, I probably will do. I'll probably do something. I'll probably figure it out. Let's see, where did we leave off at? Meteorology in the Army, but I was a truck driver. LOL. I could do an interview of how I learned the Army from you has helped in the civilian TV career. Yeah, that'd be cool. That's awesome. It's kind of crazy that you got involved with the TV stuff and everything like that. Didn't picture that being a thing for you, but that's awesome that you got into that. I think that's pretty cool. Of course, that's what I do. I do video stuff. I went to school for television and radio, but didn't actually pursue an actual career in it. I just kind of stick with the YouTube kind of thing, I guess, because I like being my own kind of producer and all that fun stuff. So, Josh says, Chris, I was born in Orange County, but I lived most of my life in LA. Yeah, that'd be kind of rough to live in LA. I have family who lives in LA, in the LA area. It's hard to like determine what part is LA and what part is like a suburb. My aunt lives in Rancho Cucamonga, or that's my uncle. I forget where my aunt lives. She lives near Los Angeles area, one of the suburbs. You can't even tell that it's not Los Angeles, but it's kind of a crazy kind of thing. So a bunch of weird people in California. Yeah, it can get weird, but it's really anywhere you go, there's weird people. When I was in Texas, there's weird people in Texas. When I lived in Kansas, weird people in Kansas. There's weird people everywhere. No matter where you go. Just graduated high school. I'm trying to decide between Army, Air Force. Can you give input on the Army side? I definitely can. My always answer to this when people ask, should I join the Army? Should I join the Air Force? Should I join the Marines? It always really just depends on what you want to do. You know, you have to think about the career that you want to do, of which branch best facilitates that. So if you want to be, infantryman, then you probably have the choice of Army or Marines. You want to be a mechanic, Army, Marines. If you want to be working on aircrafts, then you could still do it in the Army, but you're probably going to be working on helicopters. If you want to work on airplanes specifically, you can do that in the Marine or in the Air Force or the Navy. So I really always feel that it just kind of depends on what it is you want to do in the military and which branch of the military is going to best facilitate that. I don't know. I mean, if you're looking for the easier route, usually a lot of people I talk to said the Air Force was pretty chill, Navy was pretty chill, but you're gone a lot because you're out on a ship. Marines is pretty tough, and Army can be pretty tough at times too. So it just kind of depends on what it is you're actually looking for and all that kind of stuff. What drone do you use to shoot the video in Cali? I currently own a DJI Mavic Pro. The one that I did in California the first time was a GoPro Karma, which works great. I also now recently got a Mavic Air because I wanted something small to be able to carry with me. So because sometimes I don't always want to have the big GoPro Karma with me, which works great. There's a lot of great features for it. It shoots good video footage, especially allowing you to color correct it and do all the fancy editing stuff to it. And it works great, and you can do a lot of pre-programmed cool shots that it has kind of built into it, and so I like it for that. But I need something also small that I can easily carry around with me, especially when I go to do the climb to Pikes Peak. I want to be able to get a little bit of drone footage for that, and I don't want to carry around a big-ass drone, so the Mavic Air I think will work great for that. But that video was shot with the GoPro Karma. When I shoot part 2, it'll be probably a mixture of the GoPro Karma and the Mavic Air. Chris, would you ever consider doing YouTube full-time if you can earn enough? I would love to do YouTube full-time if I could earn enough to where I was at least making roughly around the same of what I make being an instructor for the Army. Then I definitely would just do this full-time. It'd be a lot better because I could dedicate the whole day to working on this stuff, where right now I have to try to, find some time on the weekend, some time after work to try to do my research for the video and shoot the video and edit it. And there's sometimes where I don't go to bed until late and I still have to get up really early to get to work. So it sucks. So I would love it if there was at some point in time where I could make that. But that's not yet. That's probably still a long ways out. Who knows? There's a couple other things I need to work on to not solely rely on YouTube, because you can't put all your eggs in that one basket to rely on income from that. So I need to start, kind of branching out to other things. I want to write a book, kind of like a basics about, the Army, about like what to expect and kind of preparing for the Army. So hopefully that can earn some revenue if people buy the book. And then other things, eventually at some point, maybe if this channel becomes more popular, then more people will be interested in the merchandise. Right now it's a very small kind of, group of people that are interested in the merchandise. I think a total in this year, I think I've sold maybe 3-4 t-shirts. Not a lot. If you are interested in t-shirts, I think there's a thing in that little running thing it talks about it, but ChristopherChaos.com/store. I have some t-shirts on there through a third party. I just design them, they print them and sell them and stuff like that. If it ever got to a point where it got bigger, then I would do it myself. But so I need more avenues than just YouTube to really probably make it profitable enough to make it a full-time job. But eventually, that'd be awesome. I would love it. I think it'd be really cool to be able to do it that way. I graduated high school back in May. This coming fall, I start college and Army ROTC. Well, good luck, Andrew. That is awesome. It's a very cool thing. If you have not seen my officer video, it kind of gives a little bit of details about how like Army ROTC works and how that program kind of goes for your contract and stuff. If you haven't checked out that video, check it out. If you have, cool. Maybe then hopefully it helped you a little bit, learn a little bit about how that kind of works and all that kind of stuff. How much? Oh, he's asking Andrew how much the tuition pays. I don't know if I think they do it afterwards. You can waive your GI Bill and they'll pay for part of it. There's my video talking about getting an education in the Army. I think I talk about it, and I think that applies for ROTC as well. For that kind of stuff, I think. I don't remember how exactly it works for ROTC, but if Andrew can answer that, then cool. 60,000 annually, cool. That's awesome. I just saw it a little bit ahead. Not skipping over Rivera here. When will your video on 11 Bravo be out, and have you driven the Humvee, and how does it handle? The 11 Bravo video, I still need to get with David. If any of you have seen like the live Chaos Live that I did and everything like that when I was in Texas, David works with me, and he was 11 Bravo. And I'm going to have him kind of do the interview part of it to give you his personal experience of it. But it's been hectic trying to kind of figure it out how to do it. We get together on the weekends to work out to prepare for Pikes Peak, because me and him are the ones that are going to do Pikes Peak, the climb to the mountain. And so he's the one I have to interview, and I just got to set aside some time to be able to interview him so I can do the 11 Bravo video. It's taking a little longer than I wanted. I wanted to probably already have it up by now, but the time just hasn't kind of come together well enough to plan it with him and shoot the 11 Bravo video, but hopefully pretty soon. And then as far as the Humvee, the Army Humvee isn't really that smooth a ride. You get it past 50, 45 miles an hour, and it feels like you're entering Earth's atmosphere. That thing is shaky as hell. It doesn't handle very well. It's tough, and it can get through a lot of stuff. It can get through mud, and it can get through rocks, and get through some rough terrain and everything like that. But it's not really, it's loud. It's noisy. It's really not, like, it wouldn't be a vehicle you would want to like have for your day-to-day drive as a civilian kind of a thing outside of the military. It works for military purposes, but for the most part, it doesn't handle great. It's not a great vehicle to really drive around. Let's see, where are we at? Catching up on the chat. Got a little bit behind. I think I skipped too far. Crap. Yeah, I'm trying to catch where I was at. Do you suggest doing the 18 X-ray option or have little 2 years experience in the Army and try out for Special Forces? From a lot of people I've talked to, it seems like the better odds of making it into the Special Forces are those who spend a little bit of time in the Army first and then try out for the Special Forces. A lot of the people that go through right out the door, come into the Army, 18 X-ray, trying to make it into Special Forces, a lot of times don't make it unless you're really high speed and you've already are in great physical condition because of something you did. Maybe you did high school or wrestling or something, or whatever. And then plus maybe you have already knowledge about some military tactics and different things. And those people were lucky enough to usually sometimes make it. But a lot of the time, from what I hear from people who have done it on both ends, it seems like the better option is to spend a little bit of time in the Army and then go and do it. The other kind of advantage with that I've talked to people who've done the 18 X-ray option is that you go 18 X-ray, you don't make it, you don't get selected for Special Forces, they're quite possibly going to throw you in as 11 Bravo most often. There are other times where they might not do that, I have heard, but most cases I've talked to, people that didn't make it when they went 18 X-ray became 11 Bravos. And if that's not something you want to do, then it's good to maybe say, like, pick a job you want to do, right? Come in the Army, spend a little bit of time in the Army, then try out for Special Forces. And if it's horrible and you don't make it to Special Forces, at least you get to go back to doing the job that you were hopefully enjoying doing or something, instead of being forced to go 11 Bravo or go be something else that the needs of the Army kind of ends up, just throwing you into. So it just kind of, that's kind of my experience that I've seen with people, is that it sounds like it's sometimes better just to kind of go and, pick a job, go in for a couple years, maybe get a little bit of experience, and then try out for Special Forces, get a little bit of experience from you. Let's see. Army contract can be very complex, so one video trying to explain it all would be difficult. Yeah, there's like a lot of scenarios. That's why I think it would make it kind of tough to be able to do that. Let's see. What do you think about the Army adopting the SIG P320 as its main service pistol, despite the pistol having safety issues? I don't know if I've heard that. There is a video that I have on like some Army news stuff, where it talked about some different things with a new pistol that they were trying out. I forget what that model number was though on that one, but I don't really know a lot about weapons. I know about the M4 and I know about certain things I've used in the Army, but outside of the Army, I don't own anything that kind of gives me any kind of knowledge with that kind of stuff. So I don't really have a whole lot of experience with that. I can't wait for this. SIG brings the commercial version, the MX-17. What have I missed? You missed everything, Bit Expert. You're just showing up. We had all sorts of stuff. We had like ballerinas back here. We had belly dancing. We had Ice-T did a little show back here. It was crazy, man. You missed a whole bunch. You should have been here, but you're here now for the rest of the show of me just answering questions. You already missed the awesome intro though, so sorry, man. Let's see. When I get into the Army, there are my 3 options: ordnance, infantry, and armor. That's cool. Yeah, ordnance. I figure like kind of doing like the talking about doing EOD to do bomb removal. So, and then I know a lot of people that did infantry and a lot of people that did armor, that were tankers and stuff. So whichever, you just got to pick whatever makes you happy, whatever you think you'll enjoy. What's up, Christopher? Hooah! What's happening, Sergeant Christopher York? I actually, I saw one of your comments on one of my other videos and I was like, hey, is it that York that I knew in the Army? But then I realized his first name was Chad. He was from California too. He was one of my roommates for a little bit at one point in time. But welcome to Chaos Live. Chris, what phone do you have? I have the iPhone X. So there you go. I mean, it's an okay phone. I'm not a big fan of Face ID though. Face ID is kind of a little bit annoying sometimes, but it does the job, I guess. Whatever. And I stick to iPhone because it's what I've stuck with all the time, so I know it really well. I'm sure Samsung and the Galaxy X is fine, but I like my Apple Watch, and so I stick with Apple. I'm not claiming it's the best in the world. Let's see. What's up, Paul? Welcome to Chaos Live. Late July, I may be coming to Colorado. I'd love to meet up. Sure, we can do that. I'm sure, Russ. Hey man, could you do a unit supply specialist MOS video after the infantry run? That is a good chance. I do know someone who was a supply specialist who still lives here in Colorado Springs doing nursing, and I'm sure that I could get her to maybe participate. She's married to a first sergeant or a sergeant major. I don't know if he's a sergeant major or now, or if he's still a first sergeant, but maybe I can talk her into doing a little video about her experience being a supply specialist and doing all that kind of fun stuff. So hopefully, yeah, we'll see if we can work that into there. I really need to talk one-on-one with you. Might be able to help your exposure. Well, I'm sure we can hang out and maybe do something. We'll see. Green Berets versus Navy SEALs. I don't know. I think they both have their, pretty craziness to them. Navy SEALs, they have to do a lot of stuff with water, which is pretty tough. All that diving, and they still do a lot of high speed things, kind of like the Green Berets and the special forces do. I don't know. I think they're pretty close. I don't really know a whole lot about the Navy SEALs other than stuff you see in movies and a few like History Channel kind of documentary stuff. But I don't know. To me, they seem like they're kind of neck and neck with badassery, I guess. Chris, how many different kinds of Congressional Medals of Honor are there? I know that each branch of the military has someone who has earned it or was awarded it. Well, each branch has their own style to the Medal of Honor. I mean, it's the Medal of Honor, and then each branch has a slightly different look to the Medal of Honor. So they're the same award, essentially. They just look a little bit different based on the branch of military. The activity in the chat has gotten much more active. Yeah, it gets tough to kind of keep up sometimes. So that's always awesome. It would be really boring if it was maybe like one or two of you. I mean, I would still do it, and I would try, just to humor it, and because it's fun to hang out with no matter how many of you there is, one or two or whatever. But it always makes it a lot easier if the chat is active enough. The only thing it kind of gets crazy with is sometimes if I go too long on an answer and it kind of starts to stack up, I try to catch up. And the crazy thing is like there may quite possibly be a point somewhere later on down the road where the channel gets a lot more success and I can't keep up with the chat, and it's a little bit kind of a bummer because then I won't be able to answer everybody's questions. But right now I can pretty much, for the most part, usually get to everybody's chat comment. But there could possibly be a point in time when this channel gets big enough to where I can't keep up with everybody, and it'll be a lot more difficult to answer your questions. So for now, we'll enjoy it, and you guys were here at the point for however long it lasts where I can keep up with everybody's chat thing. But who knows? At some point in time, it might get out of control where I can't keep up with chat. But I'll do my best. We'll if we get to that point in the road, then I'll still do my best to try to keep up the best that I can. Chris, how are people in the 19 series put into armor and cav? So like a 19 Delta, so like a scout. I only really have experience with scouts. That's a 19 Delta, right? Yeah. And I've always been in cav units when working with 19 Deltas. So they're working usually with the Bradley fighting vehicle. And then doing other things kind of similar to infantry, where you're doing like things as like an OP, doing an observation point, and doing things like that as a scout. So I don't really know how it works for other 19 Deltas that are not in a cav unit, because all the 19 Deltas I've ever worked with were in cav units. So they were always working with Bradleys, doing stuff like Bradley gunnery and all that kind of stuff. So that's the only experience I really have with the scouts. Where were you on 9/11? I was in Fort Riley, Kansas. Me and my roommate. I was in the Army, of course. Me and my roommate, we just got done doing PT, and we were getting dressed, getting ready to go to our 9 o'clock formation. and we were listening to the radio, and they started talking about it, and we thought that it was just a small like airplane, like maybe like some small little passenger airplane with an inexperienced pilot that crashed into the building. And then they started talking about another one, and then we kind of getting a little curious, and we're like, this doesn't sound like, you know, a coincidence. And we went downstairs, and they had a TV on downstairs, and we started watching the news coverage before formation, and it was crazy. It was hectic. I remember my roommate, he had to go off post to do something, and it was hell trying to get back on post. I think it took him like over an hour to get back on base because security was really tight that day. And we were doing the National Training Center in California. We already had some people that already took off to California to start doing some stuff. And I was supposed to leave on the 12th of September. My flight was supposed to leave, but my flight ended up getting delayed to the 13th, I think it was. And I didn't end up leaving until a little bit later because of all the flight situation. But yeah, I was in the Army. I was in Fort Riley, Kansas, and getting ready to go to the National Training Center in Fort Irwin, California. So, armor or cav? You talking about like which one's better? I've only served in one armor unit. That was my very first unit when I was in Fort Riley, Kansas. It was 113 armor. I served in 2 cav units, 30 ACR, the third armored cavalry unit, and then 410 cav. I think I like cav better. I think I liked it better in the cav. If that's what you're asking, Jumpman. Hoping to get my first cav division when I get into the Army. I usually try to say, by the way, cav because I always pronounce the long version wrong. I don't know why. I just always do that. And people give me crap about it. But hey, it happens. But yeah, so hoping to get your first cav division when you get into the Army. Yeah, I liked being in the cav. Cav was cool. List the 28th for 11 X-Ray. Well, good luck to you. Are you hoping for 11 Bravo or 11 Charlie? Because that's usually what happens with 11 X-Ray. But most people I know who did the 11 X-Ray ended up with 11 Bravo. Paul, go armor, of course. I remember you said you were in Fort Riley, Kansas, right? Of course you would say armor. How bad is the peanut butter shot? The best military YouTuber ever? I don't know. What's the peanut butter shot? How bad is the peanut butter shot? I don't think I know what you're talking about. What's the peanut butter shot? I don't know. You have to elaborate on that a little bit more. Let's see. The SIG is very modular pistol, is easily switched between different parts. The calibers, however, there's a concern the pistol isn't drop safety. Oh, you know what? I think I do know what you're talking about. I think that is the pistol that I talked about in that video. I just don't remember the model number. And it might have been that one, where you can swap out the calibers. You can swap out the upper receiver and switch to a different caliber, which I think is pretty cool to be able to do that. And I think I did talk to, there's a guy that I work with who does like weapons and kind of like builds them for people who order them. And I want to say that he was telling me about the civilian version that they have of it that he says doesn't feel very safe. Maybe it's the same pistol. I don't know, though, for sure. I don't know. Are there any policies for the use of a camera in a combat zone, like a GoPro attached to the helmet to record confrontations? Yes, technically. Usually, like when I was in Iraq both times, they weren't too strict on it the first time. I think they were a little bit more strict on it the second time, I think it was, where they really didn't want you recording stuff when you went outside the gate, when you go out and do stuff. I still did anyways, and I usually just kept it to really basic stuff, like just driving down the road, not really the operations that we did. But yeah, I don't know if there's an official policy. Usually they give you some kind of briefing, and they say, hey, you're recording stuff, don't post it online unless you get it approved through, what is it, be S2? S2 would be the department that goes through and can review that kind of stuff. I never went and did that to see like how long it would take them to go through it and approve whether or not the video is okay to post online or not. I just usually just didn't chance it and just didn't post anything online that was outside the wire kind of stuff, unless it was something really basic that I was pretty sure wasn't gonna, get me in trouble, I guess. And it was just some, generic, passing by some stuff on the road kind of footage. But yeah, I don't know if there's an official policy. Usually you get like some kind of briefing that kind of goes over that kind of stuff, and we'll tell you, hey, don't post this, don't post that, and make sure the S2 reviews your footage before you start posting stuff online. So, hey, Chris, as a veteran, do we still have to stand whenever we hear the Army song play, for example, at a baseball game or a memorial parade? I don't know about for the Army song. I know there's not a lot of places that still play the Army song. Like for example, on post here, like I'll still like usually like kind of, you know, stand maybe at attention or my hand over my heart when the flag's going up and they're playing the song. I forget what it's called, Reveille, or is it the retreat? No, Reveille is the one in the morning, or however you pronounce that. But I'll usually do that. But usually once they start playing the Fourth ID song, because they'll do that on Fort Carson, I usually just move on to go about doing what I'm doing. But the Army song isn't, I don't think, the same kind of thing as like the national anthem. Like for the national anthem, you know, you technically don't have to do anything if you don't want to, I guess. But you know, I feel it's, you know, proper for me to at least stand at attention. I don't like. I know a lot of people usually put their hand over their heart, but I don't know. It feels weird to me doing that because I'm so used to saluting, but yet I don't feel like I should be saluting anymore because I'm not in the military. So a lot of times when I'm somewhere where they're playing the national anthem, I usually just prefer to stand at attention for the national anthem. I just usually do that. That's usually what I do. Hoping to be 11 in Bravo and get the airborne slot. Awesome. Did you do the option 20? I think it's called. So if you get it into your contract for option 20, I think is what it's called, you can get airborne after you go through OSIT for 11 Bravo. And then most likely a lot of people that I see that do that option 20 that go 11 Bravo or even anything really and then go straight into airborne school usually end up at their first unit being an airborne unit for the most part, it seems like. That seems like usually the best way to usually get an airborne unit is by coming straight into the Army and going airborne. Otherwise, it's a little harder, just going airborne later and then catching it. Personally, I don't take, was it 1911 or whatever, over the new pistol because I still believe that the old Army is saying nothing less than a 45. Yeah. Not, like I said, I'm not super familiar weapon stuff other than some of the stuff I used in the Army, like the M4 50 cal, the 240 Bravo, stuff like that is really the only experience I really have with some things. The peanut butter shot, one of the many shots you get in basic. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Oh God, what is it actually? It's actually a penicillin shot. The penicillin shot sucks. Getting the shot of penicillin. So what was it you were asking about? How bad is how bad is the peanut butter shot? I don't know what is the peanut butter shot. I don't know if that's like a more older school term or newer school term. I don't know. I know it's the penicillin. When you get the penicillin shot, it's annoying. It feels like you've gotten like punched in the, you know, kind of in the thigh or in the butt or whatever, because they give it to you kind of in, like the meatier part of your body, so they give it to you in the butt. But it's kind of a, you know, they say you kind of like roll it around to kind of get the penicillin to kind of, you know, spread throughout your body, so it's not just balled up in one area, because if it balls up too much in one area, it kind of bruises a little bit, kind of feels like you gotten punched right there or something like that, and kind of lasts for about a couple, maybe 2 days or something like that, a day or two, I don't remember. But it's annoying more than anything. It feels sore, so it'll feel a little sore right there. But yeah, the penicillin shot's no fun. Why is the high command of the Army run by a bunch of goons who don't know anything about using money? Just look at UCP. I don't know. Yeah, I don't get into too much of the politics of the Army or the United States or any of that stuff like that. So I don't pay attention to it. So I don't have a good knowledge of what's going on with some stuff. I know a little bit here and there, but I don't pay attention to a whole lot of that stuff. Yeah, that's the gun, Chris. Honestly, the Army should have gone with the Glock 19X, not the modular, but hella safe. Yeah. I'm anti-Glock, nothing personal, but bad experiences with one. I get ya. What is the Army standards for hearing? I'm planning to enlist when I graduate, but I'm half deaf, wear hearing aid. Unrelated, but I'm trying to go 11 Bravo, go to airborne school, and then become a Ranger. You'll do a hearing test. You'll do a hearing test in Meps. If it's really bad, then they might not let you join. But I guess it depends. I don't know what their threshold is on that, of what they consider really bad, as far as like the hearing level. So it really just comes down to just trying to go through the process. Once you go to Meps, they're going to do a hearing test on you, and that'll determine there if you qualify or not. But I would imagine if it's real bad, they might disqualify you from being able to join. But if it's something that's I don't know. Like I said, I don't really know what their kind of minimum standards for the hearing test is going to be. So the best case scenario is just go and give it a try and see if they still allow you to join. And if not, then at least you tried, kind of a thing, I guess. Let's see. Heard the Army song played at a pep rally recently, so I stood up. Someone asked if I was a vet, and after I said yes, he called me a dirty Trump supporter. Why, just because you're a vet? It's weird. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever been somewhere where they play the Army song. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. Did we even stand for the Army song? I remember you had to sing along to it when they would play it at certain places and stuff, but I don't remember the words for it. I should probably do a video on the Army song. I'm not going to sing it, though. I'll have to find other people to sing it or something like that. I don't know. I Googled it. The peanut butter shot is the penicillin shot. Yeah. Penicillin shot sucks. My idiot cousin put mud in the Glock. You guys are still talking about the Glock? I don't know anything about the Glock. I can't chime in on this conversation very well. I asked my recruiter if he get me an airborne slot in my contract, but he said he can't. I asked for it at Meps. My friend who just got deployed told me that my recruiter is lying. It's usually pretty easy. I mean, you might have it where maybe your recruiter wants you to go to basic at a certain time, and so there's not an available slot for airborne school for a class to kind of line up properly with basic training and airborne school, to where they would have to push your basic training farther up. So maybe that could be a conflict in there. But even if it ends up in a situation where for whatever reason you can't get airborne school immediately after basic training and everything, usually it's fairly simple to try to request for it back your unit. You get to your unit and you just start bugging them, saying, hey, I want to go to airborne school. They have some kind of forms to fill out, some kind of packet, submit it, and there's a good chance you can still eventually go to airborne school. So just because if you don't get it right out of basic training, right out of OSIT or whatever, doesn't mean that your hopes and dreams of going airborne are crushed. Now, it may be a lot harder to get into an airborne unit after that. Maybe eventually you can still get into an airborne unit, but usually that's most people end up getting lucky with an airborne unit if they want one immediately after going to airborne school, like at the beginning of your contract kind of thing. But don't give up. You still have a chance to still make it and still go airborne. I'm allergic to penicillin, so I don't need to take it. Yeah, they won't give it to you. If you have something documented, just make sure that in your medical records it's documented, like before you go. Maybe get it documented when you go to Meps or whatever you got to do if it's not, to make sure that they know, so they don't give you the penicillin shot in basic training and all kind of craziness and all that stuff. Have you ever been to Puerto Rico? I have not. I have not been to Puerto Rico. I've only been to see countries I've been to. I've been to Germany. I've been to the airport in Japan. I've been to Kuwait. I've been to Iraq. I've been to the airport in Amsterdam and the airport in Ireland. I've been to Korea. I've been to... It might be it, actually. I think those are maybe the only other countries besides the United States that I've been to. It's probably that one. So, now that I've caught up most of the way on chat, if you would like an awesome chaos sticker, if I haven't mentioned it before, if you didn't know about it, then you can send a self-addressed envelope. You can slap a stamp on it and send me a little letter if you want, or just send me a blank envelope, whichever you want to do, and I will fill it with a chaos sticker if you are interested in one. And you can throw it on your vehicle, you can throw it on your locker, you can throw it on a desk, or whatever you want to do with it, whichever, but that's also my mailing address. So if you wanted to send me free candy, I don't know, rock stars, I don't know, a letter, I'm fine with that too. Or you want a free sticker, then you send me a letter, send me an envelope to send back to you, to stuff the sticker inside of, and I'll send it back to you. But that's the address. If you don't have enough time to catch it here on the screen, it is also in the description of a lot of my recent videos as well. So don't worry about it if you can't write it on here, but that's my P.O. box. So if anybody wants to send me fun stuff, legal stuff, then cool. Do you check medical records at Meps? Yes. Usually you'll go through like a physical, We go through all sorts of stuff. If you have additional probably documents from like your civilian doctor, you can bring it with you as well. Like if you want to make sure to get documented in there that you have like allergies, because they'll ask you. There'll be like some forms probably that ask what kind of allergies you have and all that kind of stuff. And then maybe they'll want some kind of documentation that you have of these allergies. So Meps is going to do a lot of that stuff, but it's always good to bring additional evidence if you need to make sure that they know about allergies specifically. So that's kind of important. Do you train at Fort Benning, Georgia? If so, how hot was it? I went to basic training at Fort Benning. Not everybody goes to Fort Benning. So, it just depends a lot of times. But I did my basic at Fort Benning, and back in 1999, it was a long time ago when I did my basic training, it was very hot. I remember it was very hot and humid in Georgia for basic training, and I was there in August. From August till September. It was 8 weeks back then. It's now 9 weeks now. 10 if you count reception. There's like a week 0 in there. So, it was even 9-ish, I guess you could say, when I went through, because you had week 0. But yeah, it was very hot. It's very hot in Georgia. So, not a big fan. How hard would it be to become a medic? Are Army contracts guaranteed? Well, I don't know. I don't know what the GT score is for a medic. But I don't think it's any harder than a lot of the jobs that are really in the Army, as far as, if you can pick up on it or not, and as far as the ASVAB score that goes through. But yeah, if you enlist in the Army and say like that's what you want to do, you want to be a medic in the Army, and you qualify for it because you scored high enough on the GT score, and there's no medical things that restrict you from being able to go into that MOS, and you sign up to be a medic, yes, you will be a medic. You will come into the Army and you will be a medic. It's not like they can just change their mind on you. You may get stuck with some additional duties doing other stupid stuff that's not involved with being a medic, but for the most part, you're a medic. And you'll do medic training, you'll do all that kind of stuff. So yes, the contracts are guaranteed, I guess you could say, for the most part. For most things anyways, I guess. Is it true that the ASVAB score lower to 21? I don't know. I don't know what the current standards are on ASVAB scores, if they've changed any kind of standards or anything like that. I had asthma and don't have it anymore, but my friend said to lie and don't bring it up. So I told my recruiter that I don't have asthma. Will they find out? Potentially, because you're going to go through basic training and you're going to do a lot of running. So I guess it depends on how severe of your asthma you have. If you have asthma enough to where you need an inhaler, because maybe you have asthma attacks in the middle of the night, during certain physical events or whatever like that, and you have to bring an inhaler with you, and you don't have it documented that you have asthma, they're not going to let you have an inhaler. So that's going to be the problem. You're going to go through, when you first show up to basic training, they're going to do a shakedown. They're going to have you dump out all your bags. They're going to, tell you, hey, if you have this, toothpaste, toothbrush, things you're allowed to have, hold them up. They want to see them. And then put them in a bag. And then at the end of, naming off all the authorized stuff that you're allowed to have, whatever's left on the ground, they're going to check it out. And they're going to see what else you have on you. And if you have stuff that, you have an inhaler, but you don't have documentation that you have asthma, they're going to take that inhaler away. Because you're not supposed to have an inhaler, if you don't have asthma. And then, so that's going to be that, I could see that being a problem. If you have bad enough asthma that you could possibly have an asthma attack doing very physical things like going on runs, because you're going to do that in basic training. You're going to go on long runs. You're going to go on long road marches. You're doing other things that are very physical. And if you need an asthma inhaler to, save you from having these asthma attacks, then yeah, you're going to want to make sure to know. I don't think having asthma is going to disqualify you from being in the military unless you had like a really severe case of asthma, because I've known people that have inhalers, and they would go on runs, with us and stuff, and then at some point sometimes they have to take a little hit off their inhaler and then keep up and everything like that. But for the most part, I would say yes, you should let them know that you have asthma, because you don't want to get stuck in a situation where they're not going to let you have your inhaler and you actually need it. So, like I said, you can always talk to a recruiter. But I think usually unless you have a severe case of asthma, they're still going to let you in the Army. So, is it hard to get on base housing? Sometimes. It depends on the base. Depends. So they have different, and so you have to be married for one. You can't get on post housing unless you're married. Or other situations where you don't have to be married to get on post housing are officers. Officers don't need to be married to get on post housing, and usually like a staff sergeant and above don't need it. So it's going to be based on availability of it. as far as how hard it's going to be to get that on-post housing. So if you're a lower ranking soldier, you're married, you're trying to get like, E1 housing, which sucks, by the way. Usually lower ranking housing isn't very good. It's not until maybe you get to E4, E5 that the housing starts to get pretty decent. So a lot of times lower enlisted people would rather just live off base until they earn a little bit more rank and then they want to live on base. But then even some people don't like living on base because you have a lot of restrictions. Like you have to make sure to keep up with your lawn and mow it, otherwise you can get fined. All sorts of craziness. You can't have stuff just laying around in your backyard or in your front yard and all that kind of stuff. So some people don't even like living on post, but some people do. But it just depends on how full they are. Sometimes you can end up being stuck on a waiting list for a long time, and sometimes you might just get right into on-post housing. So it's hard to say in general. It just kind of sometimes depends on the post and what the availability is like on there. I haven't had asthma in like 11 years. Then you might be okay. But I would say it would be a big concern if you have to use an inhaler often for different things. If you can do physical stuff, if you can run, for example, if you can go on like a nice, 4, 5, 6 mile run or whatever and not have an asthma attack, then you might be okay. But if it's something where you have to take asthma a lot or have to use an inhaler a lot, then you definitely want to let them know. But yeah, if it's something that hasn't bothered you in a long time, then maybe you're okay. And it probably wouldn't even mess with anything, even if you told them that you had asthma back 11 years ago, but you really haven't had anything. Then at least they document it, and if you had any kind of issues, then they can help you through it or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, it's probably not that big of a deal if it hasn't really bothered you in over 11 years. Hey Chris, sorry, getting busy at work. Got to go. We'll catch you later. Well, thanks Jay the Vorn for hanging out for Chaos Live for even a little while. I mean, you're pretty much hanging out for most of it because we're probably cut this off in about next 10 minutes or so. Usually I try not to go too much over an hour. So we got about 10 minutes left of Chaos Live before we'll probably cut it off. The Smiling Zombie Hunter. Hello, that is an awesome screen name. I like it. The Smiling Zombie Hunter. Pretty cool. My asthma is very mild. My mile time is around 5:30, so I'm good. Then yeah, you should be fine. So you shouldn't have too bad of a problem. But it's up to your discretion. You know yourself pretty well, I would imagine. So don't take my advice and then go into basic training and be like, I took your advice and I had an asthma attack. I shouldn't have done this. It's all your fault. But yeah, I mean, if you feel confident and you can do, running and physical stuff and not have to have an inhaler, then maybe you're all right. I don't know. My knowledge about asthma is not very extensive. I am not a doctor. When I was in NJROTC in high school, I had instructors that were an enlisted Navy corpsman, officer, Navy pilot, enlisted culinary specialist. Awesome. That's cool. It would have been kind of interesting, like if they had, like back in my high school, they had like ROTC or JROTC. I don't know what NJROTC is. I don't know what the N part stands for. But my high school was pretty small. I even thought about at one point I wanted to like get out of the Army and be a JROTC instructor, but the requirements are pretty high, so I didn't meet the requirements, so I wouldn't be able to do that. They want you to retire from the Army and E6 or E7 or above usually, and retire from the Army, and then or an officer and retired from the Army. So I don't make those qualifications because I did not retire from the Army. I did a little over 10 years and then got out and started living up the civilian life. So I don't qualify to be a JROTC instructor. So bummer. Oh well. Can you give me the name of virus website with what is hardish TTP so I can shut them down? I don't know of any websites that you can hack. You want to hack something? Some viruses? I'm not your hacker kind of guy to help you out. Will iron deficiency stop you from joining the Army? I am not sure. I don't know. I don't really know a whole lot about what the effects are of having an iron deficiency would kind of cause. But sometimes you just got to try. Sometimes, I mean, you might be surprised. Sometimes you can get away with medical waivers if they see that, okay, you have this, that sometimes may disqualify someone from joining the military, the Army, but because of your severity of it, they're like, oh, you're okay. We'll do a waiver and we'll allow you to still join. So I always say, best, just try. Just give it a shot. Let them know up front. Don't lie to them, and then they find out later that you lied to them and you have this, problem or this medical history or whatever. And then if they let you in, cool. If they don't, then I know. So don't just assume that, oh, because I have this, they're not gonna let me in the army. You should, if the army is something you're interested in, military for that matter, you should always give it a shot. But I don't really know a lot about what the effects are of iron deficiency to take a good guess at it, at least, because that's the best I could do. Really, is just guess if they may or may not let you in. What happens if you lie about smoking because you don't have years ago when talking to the recruiter? If you're talking about like marijuana and stuff like that, usually that stuff is out of your system after what, like a couple weeks or something like that. I don't know. So even if you lie and say you didn't do it, and it's been it's been years, say, since you've had any marijuana or any weed or whatever, it's probably not going to come up in any drug test, so you're probably not going to have to worry about it. If it's been recent, I think they're still doing it where they are allowing waivers, where if you come up hot and you're honest about it, saying that you were, yeah, I smoked weed recently a couple days ago, I'm going to probably come up hot, then they'll usually sometimes work with you and be like, okay, we'll make an exception and allow you to join under the circumstance that you will never do it again. And if you do, we're going to kick you out of the army, and they'll let you join. But if you've done it recently and you lie and say that you didn't do it, and you weren't upfront about it, then they'll probably just disqualify you from being able to join the army for however extensive amount of time, and then maybe let you come back in a year or so to try again. But if it's been a long time since you've smoked, then it's probably not even going to come up on a drug test. So it's really up to you if you want to disclose it or not. If it's been several years ago, your recruiter's probably not going to care. He's probably going to be, oh, that's fine. It's been several years. Okay, cool. But if been last couple of days ago or whatever, compared to when you're going to Meps and all that stuff like that, then that can cause an issue, I think. So, never had an asthma attack. Well, that's good. So you should be probably pretty good. I've seen old army rations containing cigarettes. How come today's armies don't contain cigarettes? Don't you think in a stressful environment you would want something to calm you down? Yeah, they stopped putting cigarettes in MREs because they feel like it was encouraging people to start smoking. And it does definitely affect you. I've never been a smoker, but I've known a lot of soldiers that were smokers, and it definitely affects them physically, especially like you're going on runs for the most part. I'm sure there's some people that it can be smokers and still do great on the runs, but a lot of the ones that I knew that were smokers struggled on the runs because they were heavy smokers and everything like that. So a lot of times, so they kind of cut out having cigarettes inside of MREs because it was kind of promoting smoking. And for the most part, you want the soldiers to be, very physically fit and everything like that. It's not against any policy to smoke, why serving in the army. It is actually a thing where you're not allowed to walk and smoke. So it's kind of some crazy rules that they have. Like if you are a smoker in the army, you have to smoke in designated smoking areas, which is a pretty common thing. But you can't be walking around smoking a cigarette. You have to be standing or sitting in the designated smoking area smoking your cigarette. You can't just be walking around in uniform smoking. Now, if you're in civilian clothes, then it's not a big deal. I don't think they really, will jump on you for that. But if you are in uniform, you're not allowed to be walking and smoking a cigarette at the same time. It's kind of like a weird rule, but it's the thing they have. When I get my first unit, I have to move my family to Puerto Rico, so it's going to be a lot of new stuff for all of us. So I think in base would be easier to start. I only speak English. Yeah, well, for those kind of circumstances. Okay, so if you are usually being, usually, I wouldn't say every time, but most of the time that I've known people who are married and they're going overseas for an assignment, they usually already have on-post housing for you. There are some cases where they don't, and they will have you live off post. I know that's a lot of times, sometimes a situation with Germany and Korea and stuff, but most of the time I feel like they usually have on-post housing for you because you're kind of like taking somebody else's slot. They usually kind of work it where, someone's leaving and you're taking their place, in that country, and then, they have the housing lined up. So you're probably technically replacing another married soldier, and then they'll probably, have housing for you, but not always the case. But most cases with overseas stuff, they usually have on-post. A little easier to get on-post housing for those cases. So the N stands for Navy. Oh, okay, that makes sense then. So Navy Junior ROTC. Gotcha. Cool. Gotta go, man. Definitely come back for more streams. Have a good one. Well, thanks, Bradley. Thank you so much for hanging out for Chaos Live. I try to do them every week, but that sometimes isn't very possible, especially lately. So it's not always an every week thing, but I will probably try to schedule them. So if you know, I don't know, does it pop up for you guys like in some kind of notification when I schedule it to tell you that, hey, Christopher Chaos has scheduled a live stream? I don't know how that part works. You have to let me know. Or do you usually have to find out about scheduled ones by visiting my channel? And it's usually at the very top if I have one scheduled. Like this one was a scheduled one because people requested that I schedule them, so they gave a little bit more heads up instead of randomly doing them. So I'm going to start experimenting with the next several of just scheduling them and seeing if that's better for a lot of people. If it's more preferred that I schedule them, then I'll try to schedule them and do it that way. But I don't know how it works. Does you guys get a notification when I schedule it, or do you have to find out that I have one based on going to my channel and looking at the top? I don't know. Interesting. How would you like to be notified if I schedule it? Is there a way that I can help you know about a scheduled live stream? Let me know. What's up, Al? How's it going? Banner at the bottom is hard to read. How does it look on? I guess it depends on. Does it look blurry for you? If it looks blurry for you, you might have a slow internet connection and you're not getting full HD streaming quality, kind of a thing. Anybody else? Is it hard to read for anybody else? Sometimes that could be based on your internet streaming, and you might not be getting it at full 1080 stream quality, which can probably make it hard to see. And combine that with like watching on a cell phone or something like that, and especially the size of your phone, may kind of make that hard. But it's just mumble jumble at the bottom. If you catch it, cool. If you don't, it's nothing super important you miss out on. It's just a little bit of promotion stuff, talking about, you know, leave your questions in the comments, my website where you can buy Chaos t-shirts if you wanted to buy an awesome Chaos t-shirt, which I'm wearing one today. There you go. It's got the little skulls, by the way. If you did ever get one of these ones, the skulls that are inside of that Chaos is actually the template that was used to create the skulls in my tattoo for my sleeve. It's a little fun fact if you ever cared. That's how that kind of works. Thanks for answering my question. Really appreciate it. Have a good night. Hey, thank you, Jeffrey. Thanks for coming and watch Chaos Live. I do a 16:32 mile and leave for basic training tomorrow. Would that be fine? You're going to want to be a little bit faster. Because what is the standards? Let me see here. I'd have to look at what the standards are. I mean, for basic, you'll be okay because they're going to whip you into shape. And you'll probably do a better run time anyways. Army, PT. You probably already know what the standards are for the run times. But I was trying to pull up the chart, which is going to probably take me too long to pull it up. Let's assume if you are 18 coming into the Army, you need to at least, so in basic training, you're going to have to score a 50%, which is going to be a 1636 in basic is going to be your minimum. And then once you get to your final unit, you're going to have to get a 1554. So you are going to have to improve on your run time, which basic will help you do that. If you want to try to, you know, do some prep beforehand to get better, that always helps as well. But yeah, 1630 is going to make it, you know, you're going to have to definitely improve that time for basic training and for after you get out of the Army. But basic training, that's what that's for. That's to whip you into shape, and you will end up in a lot better shape in basic than you are before. So is it possible to join with a friend if you are going to do the same MOS? I don't know if they still have it. They used to have when I first came in the Army, they used to have the buddy program where you suckered somebody into joining with you. You got to come in as an E2 and that person was still an E1. And they'd always say, you know, make fun of those people a little bit. And I think with that program, you could get if you're both coming in at the same MOS, your first duty station, they would join you guys together. I don't know if they still have that program. That would definitely be something you'd have to ask a recruiter about the buddy program and see if they still do that same buddy program where it allows one of you to, you know, whoever it is that's, you know, the first one to recommend the other person, I guess, usually gets to come in as an E2. And so you get a little bit more pay right off the bat, and I think you do get to like be stationed with each other if they still offer it. So be a good question to ask the recruiter and kind of see how that goes. So you're still live. I am for a little bit longer. I'm going to cut it off here in a little bit because we're now at 5 minutes past an hour. So we are going to cut it off here in a little bit. I'm just answering a few more questions and then we'll kind of wrap this up. When you were in the military, did you work with foreign allies? Yes, I worked mostly when I was in, well, no, I guess in both when I was deployed in Iraq, when I was in Korea. I think that's really it. And then for me anyways. So like in Iraq, you'd work with the local nationals, in Iraq for their military, their police. You would do a little bit of missions here and there with them. When I was stationed in Korea, you had the Korean army that you would do stuff with. Plus, because of where I was at, I was stationed right along the border of North and South Korea at the Joint Security Area. We also worked with the Swiss because we had a Swiss camp there at Camp Boniface, the Panmunjom. And so we worked a little bit with Swiss as well. So that's my experience working with foreign allies. I set my cell phone, iPad, laptop to automatically pop up with a live stream note. When you're on here, anyone can do the same. You know how to set on your channel. Yeah, so if you do the bell, then you're supposed to get like a little notification to pop up. But I don't know. So you guys don't probably get anything if I schedule it only when it first. So you probably got the notification maybe like when I was about to go live. Probably because it was scheduled, you probably got like some kind of 5-minute warning or something, I would imagine. But you probably didn't get any kind of notification when I first scheduled it. But yeah, I'll try to schedule the next one. Trying to think. I leave for vacation pretty soon, so I don't know if I'll get in a live stream before I go to California. Maybe I'll do a live stream in California. Probably be like a generic one, like on my cell phone. It won't be like all high speed with all my graphics and everything. We'll see. We'll see how things work out. Maybe I'll do a live stream from California. I also have to usually use probably like my cell phone's data. Probably like when I go into town, because my hometown does not get very good cell phone service, and the internet at my parents' house is not very fast. So I would not be able to live stream from my parents' house. I'd probably have to stream from my cell phone, go into town, park the car somewheres, and hang out in the parking lot and do a live stream with you guys. If I do one while I'm in California, I might. We'll see. Maybe I probably will. Maybe a good chance, but I won't promise it. I don't know if I'll be able to schedule it. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things go, I guess. Let's see. Favorite. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up where I left off at. I'm going to try to cut it off at, looks like Charles Rivers' question. And then, so I'll catch up to that point, and then we'll probably cut off the questions. If you had more questions after Charles's question that I have last on here about the reserve soldiers, then maybe hold off until the video is processed and I can try to answer them there. But that's probably where I'll cut off the questions, so we'll go up to that point. What was your favorite thing about the Army that set the Army apart from the rest of the armed forces? I don't know. I don't know if there's anything really, because I don't really have any experience with the other armed forces to say what would be better about like the Army compared to the Marines or the Air Force or anything like that. But my favorite thing about the Army, I don't know. I mean, it's really just a job to me. I don't know if I had a favorite thing. I mean, it was fun traveling, which you get to do. I mean, sometimes it wasn't fun traveling to Iraq, but I like traveling to Germany or Korea and all that kind of stuff. But so travel, but you can travel with a lot of branches anyway, especially like Navy. Navy, you can do a lot of traveling with Navy. A lot of people I know that served in the Navy got to see a lot of cool stuff, because you go and you stop at a harbor, stop at a dock, and you can get out and go roam around a little bit for a day or for half a day or whatever, and you get to do cool stuff. So traveling, if you really want to travel, Navy is probably the best way to go for traveling. I meant my family only speaks Spanish, and we're moving to the States from Puerto Rico. I speak English, but they don't. Is there any help for them in case I'm deployed or in training? No, not really. There's not like anything like an interpreter or anything to help out or do anything like that. They might usually sometimes on post at the education center offer like English classes. So if like your family wanted to learn English and become better in English or whatever kind of a thing, they could do that. But otherwise, no, that's probably the best thing you can do. There's not going to be anything like any kind of other special services to help out with someone who doesn't speak English. So start learning English. I don't know what the best kind of answer is to that. But I want to say that there's usually like some classes on post that'll kind of help out with English to help them learn. Chris, do you do pot? I do not. I know people in Colorado love their pot. Yeah. Yeah, it is legal in Colorado. But because I have a secret clearance and I work for technically, the Army, work for, a federal agency, it is still, I guess, illegal for me because I hold a security clearance. Even if I wanted to smoke weed and do all that kind of fun stuff that Colorado has now for legalization, I would not technically be allowed to, based on laws, because it's not federally allowed. Now, if weed ever became federally allowed, then I guess I could legally then do it. I'm probably not interested in it because I never got interested in like smoking cigarettes or anything like that, or wasn't really into trying to get high before I came in the Army or anything. So I probably still wouldn't be interested in it. But even if I was interested in it, I couldn't, because I have a secret clearance, and that is not allowed for someone who holds a secret clearance. So, what was the hardest part of your time in the Army? Deployments. Deployments are horrible. They suck. You're there for, a year and a half, no days off and all that kind of stuff. So deploying to Iraq was probably the hardest. Do Army Reserve soldiers get BAH and the same pay as active duty members during IET? Yes, I'm pretty sure. I know they do pay-wise. I don't know how the BAH works. But I do know that the pay will be the exact same. You just get paid for the amount of time that you are doing, like your drill, or if you're doing the 2 weeks training or whatever. So it kind of works off that way. But for the most part, pay, I'm not 100% sure if the BAH rate is the same for reservists compared to like active duty and all that kind of stuff. So that is where we will leave off here on Chaos Live. Everybody who came to hang out and joined, anybody who's watching this after it's processed onto YouTube and you have additional questions, or you were here during the live thing, come back later when YouTube has processed this video, leave your comments down in the comment section down below, and I'll try to answer those down in there as well if you had additional stuff. I am cool with trying to help out anybody who's curious about different aspects of the Army. Again, one last time, if you would like a Chaos sticker, they're free. All you got to do is send me an envelope, preferably with a stamp on it, but if not, I can throw a stamp on it. Put your address on that blank envelope. If you want to say include a letter in there with it, you want to throw a pixie stick in there, I don't know, whatever you want to do, or you just want to send me a blank envelope and you want a Chaos sticker, I will send you one back, or I will send that envelope back with a Chaos sticker inside of it while supplies last, at least anyways. But if you didn't have a chance to copy that down, it's fine. It's down in the description. Description to a lot of my videos has the mailing address and all that kind of fun stuff. So thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. I'm excited that we've moved past 12,000. I'm sure maybe hopefully in no time we'll be at 13,000 and continuing on and adding more awesome, cool people to this community that I'm hoping to build, that is, getting all the knowledge that I can hopefully spread to you about the Army and entertain you at the same time. So thanks for watching. I'm Christopher Chaos. If you are not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe somewhere, wherever it's at on there. Subscribe to the channel. See you guys next time. See ya.